When I found out I was going to go back to Yosemite after about 7 or 8 years, I knew I couldn't afford to stay in Yosemite. So I shopped around for a place to stay and found Bass Lake, California. You could easily get to the Yards bus, that wonderful bus that takes you into Yosemite and gets you in the gate. This place is a treasure. It's like some of the other parts of California, Big Bear and Idlewild, that you hear about, but you only really understand when you get here.
And like many accommodations in the resort parts of California, the Pines Resort is nestled in the trees. It's a little city with its own post office and store and chalets, and it's a quick drive to the Yards pickup point in this area. Yards is a wonderful service. We're on the line up from Fresno. It's the newest service for Yards that now has 4 different routes going in and out of Yosemite. The one down to Fresno is making a lot of sense because Fresno is one of the largest cities in California. And the neat thing about it is the Yards buses are state-of-the-art. They're brand new with restrooms, gorgeous and clean inside. And the fun of taking the bus will be driven home to you when you realize you may not want to drive this road yourself. It's a winding trip up to Yosemite with beautiful stops on the way.
We are inside Yosemite National Park in a little tiny place that's on the map. It's Wawona, California. This tree may be close to 1,000 years old, and the hotel complex back here was started in 1870. It has a rich heritage by itself, and that's part of the fun of taking the Yards bus up from Fresno. You get to stop in places like this.
And you see a lot of California even before you get to the park. The weather can change very drastically up here, and again you realize you're glad that a professional is taking you on the road to Yosemite. I've driven it many times, but I feel far more comfortable with a professional Yards driver getting me there. Finally, you get into the park area itself, and you're greeted by an interesting sight, a tunnel opened in the 1930s, carved out of solid rock. And at the end of the tunnel, of course, not just a light at the end of the tunnel, what they call tunnel view. On a clear day, people come here just to see the sights. And the first thing that welcomes you to Yosemite is a beautiful waterfall. And there it is. You gotta stare to find it in this weather. Finally, you're down on the floor of the park, and you get to see the immensity of the walls carved by the glaciers. There's a lot of water here. The Merced River runs through the park. There are tributaries, beautiful bridges, and look there. There's the shuttle bus that runs inside Yosemite. It's very, very convenient, and the shuttles run very often. And the Yards drivers know how to point out the sights. There's another view of another waterfall. Here is what I used as headquarters, the Yosemite Visitor Center, and inside there's a mock-up of Yosemite Valley with some very knowledgeable people explaining just how the valley was carved out and where the sights you should see are. And there's another waterfall. They're everywhere here in Yosemite. The Visitor Center has its own bus stop, and right on time to return, there's the Yards bus. And another friendly, knowledgeable driver who will take us safely through the winding roads of this part of California. Back out through the tunnel and back out through the gateway. It's been a long day in Yosemite, but a very, very worthwhile day. It's fun to see the park in bad weather, if see is the right word. And again, a safe ride back because of the professional drivers of Yards who make all of this happen. Nice day. Just wish the weather had been a little better. I'm Dennis Daly.